these final preparations have been completed, the signal light for launching is given from the control room.
I'm a queen, I'm a dream, I'm a space-time scheme. I'm a blink of an eye.
Hey guys, does capitalism have you down?
Does the constant pressure to be productive get to you?
Are you tired of being a cog in the machine?
Productivity porn has created a business around making you think that constantly being productive will lead to a fulfilling life. However, this mindset has created unhappy, anxious, and burnt out people.
On our podcast, we aim to entertain by providing useless information just for the joy of it and giving you time in the day to stop the gears of capitalism.
And if you're thinking, what's the point of this podcast? Then we invite you to be a part of the revolution against toxic productivity by embracing the useless things in life.
Welcome to episode 26 of the Very Unimportant People podcast.
Do less. Jeez! If you guys like that song, which I personally
Love it.
I feel hyped up for the rest of the episode. Like, I hope you guys
energy.
are feeling the
Unreal.
energy as much as we are. It's crazy! So check out Lemon Lord on like literally anywhere you can find her because that was so awesome. You can also follow her on Instagram at I am Lemon Lord. And that's just like spelt out I am Lemon Lord. I'm sure you got this. Stream the new album, Be Blonde. Click on the link in the description. Just do it all. Make sure you download the song, drop her a follow because this shit it goes so hard, bro.
So thank you so much to Lemon Lord for the song. We love it.
We
It's
love
a vibe. It's my new morning vibe, so thank
Hell
you.
yeah. I'm your host, Lidia, and this week, I'm living in an old person's home.
What? It sounds like my dream.
That's honestly great.
And I'm Courtney, and this week I overshared in a job interview.
Oh, I love that for you.
It's great.
It happens. What did you share? Do you want to overshare on the podcast as well?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel like I was oversharing until the end of the job interview. And
Yeah.
she made a comment, and I was like, I think I told her too much because they were like asking me why I wanted the job, and obviously like you have to lie, you know. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
You just have to pretend that you like
Yeah.
love
Working.
life, love things, love working. So
Love
I was
the
talking
team.
about how like I guess, you know, it's been the pandemic and I just moved to Victoria and I've been like working remote, but I'm just like missing being around people and I'm used to like working in the retail environment. So I just want to be around people again and like have that
Love
social
that.
time, right?
Wow,
And
that's
then,
amazing. Good
yeah, right? Ugh. Anyways, at the end of the interview, she was like, all right, like we'll let you know. We'll give you a call back. And I was like, okay, thanks. It was great to meet you. And then I'm standing up to leave and she goes, I hope you find some friends. And I was like,
Oh, God.
thanks. It was so awkward. I didn't
embarrassing.
think
I'm
that I
so
had
sorry.
shared, but then she said that, and I was like, I told her way too much. It was clearly, I didn't think that's what I was saying when I gave that answer, but apparently that's
Yeah.
how it was interpreted. So I just,
Oh
it
my
was so
God.
awkward.
I hope she feels awkward about that too. Could
Me
you
too.
imagine saying that to someone? Bye, hope you find friends.
It was like, she said it in a nice way. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
bitchy way, but it was still just like such an awkward situation. And there was like 2 people interviewing me, so there was another guy there, and he was just
God.
like, it was so
After you left,
uncomfortable.
he was probably like, why did you say that? She's not going to accept the job now. She thinks we're weirdos.
It was weird. It was weird.
That
Very
sucks, dude.
strange. But I did get the job.
Oversharing in
and
job interviews. That's the thing about oversharing is that I think it kind of makes you very memorable because I overshared in a job interview as well that I now work at. And I think that first
There you
interview,
go.
like that's what they remember me for. Like
maybe they just felt bad for me. Maybe they were like, you know what? This girl has no friends. We gotta give her the job. Gotta get her out of the house.
that might have been it, but honestly it worked.
It worked.
I love
there
that.
you go,
So like
everyone.
whenever you go into a job interview, just try to get them to pity you enough for being a loser.
Subtly. Don't just be like,
Yeah,
oh,
like
my life is so bad, but just like subtly
You're like
imply.
a cool a cool loser, you know? You're not like a loser who is a loser. You're like a
You know
really
what
cool
I feel
loser.
like it might be too is that like it kind of goes with the whole you're in the job for more than just money thing, and I feel like employers really like that.
True.
So if you can work that
Yeah.
into your job interview too,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
love
yeah,
that
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Even
Yeah,
though I
that's
don't
such a
think
good
I'm gonna
point.
make friends at this job. This is not where I'm looking for friends, but that's okay. No need to know.
You might. You never
Maybe.
know. You never. Yeah, you might. Who knows? At the job that you applied for, my friend works there too, and like a lot of people there are in like relationships with other people who work at the place. So it's definitely a place you can make friends and connections. Be able to do. It leads to a lot of drama. I will heed you on that. But like. Still, it's definitely a place where you can like
spice.
go in the back room and like talk and like laugh and like joke and like get close to someone, maybe.
Oh, uh-oh. Well, that's good.
Well,
Maybe.
congratulations.
Thanks.
We're happy for you.
Thanks. What about you? How's life with the old people?
Life with the old people is super chill. I mean, like, I think sometimes when I like go down and I try to like say hi to like some of the old people, I think the mask is really holding me back because I'll say good morning to people and they will flat out ignore me. And I don't think they're being rude. I think they just didn't hear me.
Yeah, that could be it.
And I'm like, oh, like hopefully they don't think I'm a bitch now because I'm not like saying hi to everybody. And yeah, I mean, my grandma, like when she left to go to the cottage, she was like, oh, I'm so excited for you to be here. This place needs some young people. You need to spruce it up, blah, blah, blah. You need to make some friends. I was like, oh my God, grandma, like I'm not going to be a social butterfly here. Like I'm not allowed to like interact with people because I only have one vaccine and like I haven't gotten tested. So I have to pretty much like quarantine in the room the entire time. But like it's fine. My meals are delivered.
Your meals are delivered?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know. And my grandma's like, I'm paying for it anyways. Just like stay. I was like, okay, no problem. So like at 12 o'clock and 5 o'clock, I get lunch and dinner. And then my breakfast is like, it like came in a little bag. It's like, I don't know, whatever. Breakfast.
Sounds
And yeah, it's
so
chill.
good.
It's nice. Yeah.
Wow.
It's really nice. Yeah, it's great. And I get to hang out with her cat, which is the whole reason I'm here. They wouldn't have
Sounds
let
like
me
the
in
dream.
unless we like told them that the cat had a disability. So now I'm like apparently taking care of like a disabled cat when really the cat's just fucking chilling. My grandma didn't want to leave it
no.
alone. Yeah, so now
That's
they
so
think that she
cute.
has a disabled cat.
That poor cat. People are going to be like, hey, buddy. Hey.
You okay? The cat's like, wow.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you. It sounds like
Yeah.
you're living the life.
I am. It's
Old
so
people
exciting.
are literally my favorite. I
Yeah,
love
they're
them
great.
so much. I love them more than all the other people. They're so cute.
Oh, that's so
sweet.
sweet.
I have this
Oh.
old lady that on the mornings that I run, she waves
Mm-hmm.
at me every morning. She sits in her little armchair by the window, and every morning we wave at each other.
Oh my God,
It's
that's
really
so
cute, and it makes my day. And she like gets the biggest smile on her face, and like is so cute.
She was like, hey.
Hey, girl.
That's honestly so cute. I love it when like I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but like when you're running and you see someone else who's running and you're like you kind of like give each other like the running wave, like, hey, you're running, I'm running. We see each other.
You're
We
like,
good.
oh, I know.
I
Or like
know
in
the-
the
I know
club.
the-
It's like the running club. It's like Fight Club. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it
we're
feels like a
talking
kind
about-
of
we're
a
breaking the first
squad.
rule. Oh well.
Yeah, it's cool.
I do that to Janaid because we run together, but he runs much faster than me. So
Oh yes.
at the
I
turnaround
understand.
point, I'm still running towards it. We wave at each other. It's fun.
Oh, that's cute. Okay, everyone, welcome back to the way that things normally are. Just kidding. Thank you so much, Courtney,
Lydia's
for
back.
taking over last week. That was
Thank you, Lydia, for coming back.
everything. Oh man, I missed you. That was so funny though. Honestly, I loved it. Maybe I'll leave again just so I could listen to
It
you
was
do
really
it by
hard.
yourself.
Stop. I've never felt so uncomfortable just talking to myself, and there was no one to react to any. I was like, "All right, that was that."
Yep. Anyways, moving on. So the poll for this week was about My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and van life. Let's get into it. The first one was, are you/were you a fan of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? 27% of you said yes, you are fans of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. When I said that if you watched the show and you liked it, then yes, you are a fan. I included myself in that. I did vote for yes since I watched it and I liked it. I didn't go to any of the conventions or anything, but it was a good time. But yeah, 27%. That's cool. And then the next question was, have you ever been attracted to a cartoon or anime character? And I had to include Inuyasha. It was in the picture. So obviously I answered yes to that, but it's 50-50.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's
I
pretty
honestly
good.
thought it was going to be lower. Like, I thought a lot less people would be like, yeah, I fucks with anime or something like that. But it's actually like...
I feel like a lot of people in their, like, not their childhood, but in their younger years when they were watching, like, cartoons might have had, like, a crush on a cartoon character.
Oh, true.
So that
that's
could
a
be where
really,
that's coming
really strong
from.
point. Yeah. People are, like, obsessed with, like, the girl Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And then the next question was, have you ever been to BronyCon? And unfortunately, it's 100% no on that one. I know, that would have been
I was
so fucking sick.
excited for something.
Hopefully you guys didn't just get
We need
shy
a
and
brony
decide.
on here.
Yes,
I wanna
please.
talk
That would
to
be
a
so
brony.
fun. That would make my whole day. I want to hear about BronyCon firsthand so badly. Okay, so let's move on to the van life. Next we got, do you want to live that hashtag van life? 50-50.
And you know what? I had the entire opinion about how van life is a cry for help, but I said yes. I would like to run away from my problems. I do think it's a cry for help, but I need help.
It is. I know, right? I said no. I was like, because I think I still kind of stick with what I said last week, where like maybe I would live in a trailer, not so much a van on the road
That's fair.
type of situation, right?
Or like an RV,
So the next
maybe
question-
something that's set up for living.
Instead of like having to do the whole like converging thing and figuring it out. It just sounds like a lot of work to renovate a van, you know?
Yeah.
The next question was, do you or someone you know live the van life? 42% said yes.
Oh.
58% said no.
That's
Yeah.
more than I thought.
Same.
I
That's
do
a
not
lot
know
of people.
anyone. That's cool.
No, me neither. Yeah, that's really sick. And the last question was, do you think van life is a cry for help from society? 73% of you said, yeah, it is.
It is. You can't deny it, guys. You just
No,
can't.
you can't. You can't. Like, you have to
Why
say
are
it.
people living in a van?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no money, no job, no affordable housing. Economy sucks. 9 to 5 the worst. But also, fun times. Drive always. Vans are cool. Live on beach. Live in parking lots. No home. Limited electrical and water.
It still sounds
Survival
better
mode.
than the alternative. That list still sounds better than
You
the
had
9
me
to
at
5
9 to 5.
bullshit.
Oh, man. Thank you guys so much for participating. We had a lot of fun with the polls this week. Courtney set an amazing example for posting hella questions.
So many questions. I'm so sorry. I apologize again.
But I love it. I mean, I'm on board. So, yeah, tune in next week for another onslaught of questions. Maybe we'll do less. We'll see how it goes, because I know a lot of you lost interest by the end of that. But thank you so much for participating. Tune into our Instagram at very.unimportant.people next week on Tuesday/Wednesday. Oh my God, I almost did the Jenna Marbles Wednesday/Thursday.
We miss you, Jenna.
Yeah, we do. For some more info, we love interacting with you guys. We love it when you guys comment on our stuff, on our reels, on our posts. We love it when you respond to our stories and when you vote in our polls, which is the easiest way to interact with us. And you get to
And
be talked about on the podcast, which is fun.
When you join our Patreon, we really enjoy that too.
The Patreon, you guys are missing out. I'm not gonna lie. The Patreon is everything. We have so many funny bloopers. Like, if you think the reels are funny, you will die at the Patreon. It's so worth every penny, and it's super cheap. So that makes it 10 times more worth it. So yeah, please go to our Patreon. It's linked in our link tree on our Instagram description. Very easy to find. And they do accept PayPal. So looking forward to that. See you guys next week. See you guys in 1 second.
Oh yeah. Yeah, see you in a second. Bye. All right.
Let's get it.
Opinions?
/ topics. I don't have an opinion this week.
yeah.
I have a topic.
I kind of have an opinion.
Okay.
Every topic is an opinion because you present
I
your
know,
topic
right? I was
and then
gonna
we
say.
form an opinion about the topic. So it's just, instead of coming to the podcast with the opinion already formed, we're just creating it on the podcast. You're listening
I like
to
that.
the
This
process.
is happening live, you guys.
Live.
Heat of the moment. Let's see how
So
it goes.
I'm going first this week, and my opinion this week is about the 40-hour work week. You all know that I'm a little Marxist. I love Daddy Marx. So I'm talking about the 40-hour work week and why it's inappropriate for the 2021 world. So let's go into a little bit of a history first about the 40-hour work week so we can understand
Okay, let's
where
do
it came
it.
from, why it was designed, and why it's no longer applicable. So before the 40-hour work week, which was popularized in the 1920s, people were working 80 to 100 hours a week. So they were working 10 to 12-hour days, 6 days a week. The only day off they had was Sunday because, it's the Lord's Day. Yeah,
For sure.
And so there was initial push in the 1860s and 1880s, and that push was for an 8-hour workday. So not to change the amount of days that you work, but just to shorten the day. And the idea behind this was that it would give you 8 hours to work, 8 hours to sleep, and 8 hours for leisure. Because you can split 24 by 8 equally.
That's cool. I would love to have 8 hours of leisure. I feel like I have a lot less.
Me too. When I read this, I was like, it's definitely not that much, but I guess it is.
Wrong. I guess so. Kind of feels like 4 hours of leisure, but I guess like if you count having to like
Get ready.
wake up and get ready for work,
I don't really
I
count
wouldn't
that as leisure. But whatever.
But okay.
I guess when
I'll
you're
get the
working
idea.
like 12 hours a day, maybe it seems like
True.
leisure to have that time.
Oh, for sure. I get the intention. There was good intentions behind it, I guess.
And then President Ulysses S. Grant, which I don't recognize that name, so I don't know who that is, but apparently a president in the States.
Oh, maybe he was like one of those really short presidents
that no one really cares about. He just didn't really do anything too notable.
Yeah.
But he issued the 8-hour workday for government employees and then kind of made a push and encouraged people in private sector jobs to do that as well. And in 1886, Illinois was the kind of like the first place to pass a law mandating a 40-hour work week. But a lot of employers refused to comply with this. And this resulted in a worker strike where a bomb killed 12 people.
Oh,
and this
my
is known
God.
as the Haymarket Riot, and it's still observed as a public holiday in a lot of countries on May 1st.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, did I miss this? Why did they oppose the 8-hour workday?
Because they wanted
was just change.
maximum productivity, right? They didn't want to shorten the
Oh.
workday for people because
Employers said like no.
yeah,
we
no,
need the
employers
12
didn't
hour.
want it. Employees wanted it, but employers didn't
Okay.
want their
Oh my God,
factories
they
to be running
freaking
for
rioted?
less time or like to be closed one day and the people that rioted are the workers because the employers weren't complying with government guidelines and they were abusing their workers essentially.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
for sure.
And so finally, in the late 1920s, Henry Ford popularized the 40-hour work week.
Yes, he did.
So his research, he discovered that when he gave people an extra day off, so that was the weekend, that productivity actually increased. So
believe
even
that.
though his employees were working 40 hours instead of 48, they were more productive in those hours. And then in the 1940s, the 40-hour work week became the law in the US, and it happened in Ontario in 1944. So it's just 1940s is when it became a thing, this 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
So that's the history of it. Okay?
That's interesting. That seems very late. I don't know why, but it just feels like the 40s. Like, I feel like they should have had
Or
the
yesterday.
40-hour work week. Yeah. Maybe it's just because we're, like, so used to it that I'm like, what? It hasn't always been like this?
And it just feels like so much that I feel like,
Yeah.
how was that the improvement, you know? I feel like we should be
freaking-
further than this at this point. But we're not.
Yeah.
We're still here at the 40-hour work week. So the biggest problem that I have with this is that the 40-hour work week was basically designed for people working physical labor in factories and manufacturing in the industrial era. So this meant that like this time that you were supposed to work during this day and this time that you were supposed to work during the week was designed for people doing physical manual labor, which isn't really the norm for most jobs today. The workday today hasn't been adjusted to the like mental limits that people have and the psychological limits that people have, because I think that's more relevant when you're working desk jobs in front of computers.
Yeah.
Also, technologies and methods have advanced so much since the establishment of the 40-hour work week. You would think that all that advancement in technology would mean that people could work less and technology could do more of the work.
Right? Why is it that we're still as slow as we were when everything was paper? When people
It's not
had to
that we're-
literally
okay.
push paper.
It's not that we're as slow. That's the thing. Like, we've gotten progressively better, but like the culture around capitalism is that getting better, like there's no end, you know?
True.
It's just more productive and more productive and more productive. So even though we're able to be more
God.
productive with technology, and technically people could work a lot less to be the same amount of productive as they used to be, that's not the norm anymore. And we keep pushing for more productivity.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Enough is enough.
I know.
I should enjoy my life more. Living
Stop.
2021, we're very fortunate, very privileged to live in an advanced country with lots of freedoms. I should be able to enjoy my life more than we do. Why are we working so much?
I don't know. I honestly don't get it. Like, because, okay, here's another thing. I don't know if you're going to talk about this. Sorry if I'm stealing a point away from you. But I think that since everything, like, this is mainly applying to desk jobs, a lot of the time it's all kind of can be transferred onto your home computer, onto your phone, onto whatever, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of the time, even when you're at home and you're enjoying your 8-hour leisure, you're actually still answering emails, scheduling calls, scheduling this, scheduling that. Like, you're actually working more. And I feel like if we were to cut back the workday to not mandatory 8 hours, but to maybe mandatory like 5 hours or 6 hours, then you would eventually make up for those 8 hours with the amount of time that you're spending at home still in your work mindset. Like, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I go to sleep thinking about work. I'm like, this is what I need to get done tomorrow. Like, it's not like when you're not working, you know? Like, you're still kind of in that mindset. So
Yeah, I had a stat here, but you're totally right. It's people are now with technology, people are working more. And I think it was like an average of people work about 7 hours more than they're actually supposed to be working, because they're like answering emails and taking phone calls and scheduling meetings from home.
Yeah.
But like the big problem with this is not just that you're working from home and you're working more than the 40 hours, but that there's like a limit to the 40 hours. And if you work over that, you're supposed to get overtime pay. And that's supposed to incentivize employers not to overschedule their employees. But if you're working from home, just answering an email here and there, you're not actually getting paid for that overtime. So you're actually like just putting dollars into your employer's pocket. Like, they're just completely abusing you at that point. And so there's
and it's, I think, I don't know if this is true, but I'm pretty sure it's like hard to get approved for overtime. And especially if you've already done the work, if you're like, well, if you count everything that I've done this week, I've worked 44 hours. They're not going to be like, okay, here's 4 hours, time and a half. Like, they're going to be like, well, that was your prerogative. Like, I didn't ask you to do that. But it's like, I'm here. I'm hired to work here. You're asking me to do a job. I should be getting paid. I feel you.
So France actually made a law about that. So France made a law, I forget what year it was, but basically if your company has over 50 employees, you have to have legally mandated off limits hours where you're not allowed to contact your employees and they cannot answer emails.
Oh, I love that.
To like actually set boundaries, because like there's no boundaries.
Yeah,
technology has allowed us to have no boundaries.
Oh man, it's terrible. Work is not life.
Work is not life.
Work to live. Don't live to work.
100%. I feel like part of the problem with that too is that like people are always working because they need to fill some sort of financial need. But as you make more money, capitalism sells you more expensive things.
Yeah.
Like there's this
that's
like
so
rule of thumb
true.
that a certain percent of your income is supposed to determine how expensive the house is that you buy. Like it's supposed to be a certain, but that's just putting people in like a perpetual state of financial need. So even if you're making like 100K or over 100K a year, you still really have the same disposable income because everything you're spending money on is just more expensive, if
It's
you
just
know
more
what I
expensive.
mean. Yeah, it's the same
Wow, yeah,
percentage of your
totally, that's so
income
true.
on everything. But like you have more of it. And that's why everybody always wants more and feels like they need more.
We're just
the
being
biggest
pushed
lie.
into like making more money so we can get more expensive things.
Exactly.
But, like, we don't need it.
And then you buy
Like,
more
we're totally
expensive things
good.
and you need more money.
And yeah, and then you don't have the money. Man, that's crazy. I heard of this term a while back called living below your means. And it's just when you know like what your necessities are and like you don't spend more than you need to. And you
Yeah.
live like below what you're able to kind of spend money on. And that's how the rich stay rich, I guess. Like
Yeah, or just like maintain your lifestyle. So the way that I'm living
Yeah.
now, obviously I'm not getting paid any kind of great salary, but if I started to get paid like a really good salary, if I just maintain the lifestyle that I have now, I could technically work part-time. I wouldn't even have to work
Yeah,
full
that's
time.
so true.
And like
But,
actually
there's this
enjoy my
little
time in my
bug
life.
in everyone's,
Yeah.
in
It's
everyone's
like, but you
head
need
that's
these
like,
things. You need this
now
house. You
that-
need this
now that
car.
yeah, literally. But like it's just not true. Like as long as your car gets you from A to B, like I get wanting
enjoy
to
your
have nice
time.
things, but I don't know. I feel like social media has so much to do with this because living like a nice lifestyle, like honestly, when I see a nice car on the street, I'm not like, whoa, holy shit, I need to be rich in order to get that car. It's only really on social media that like
Yeah.
I see these people having these like really like rich and seemingly fulfilling lives. And I'm like, damn, I want that. And in order to have this super fulfilling life with all this amazing stuff, I need to like be making hella money and like I need to spend it all in order to be happy.
But we don't.
No, yeah, damn.
Also,
It's hard though, because
Yeah.
also one
go
quick
ahead.
last
No, go
point.
ahead. Yeah.
I have this issue where once I get money, like since I started working
You just start
recently,
spending, right?
I'm like, hell yeah.
Same.
Let's
I do the
go.
same thing.
Oh, it's so bad.
When I'm not working, I'm like so frugal and so good at it. But then it's like the second like I get work, I'm like, oh yeah, there's all these things that I didn't buy when I wasn't working that like I want.
And then you're right back to having, like you said, the exact same amount of disposable income as you did before because you just spent it all on freaking Nike.
100%. And that's how they get you.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. So another issue with the 40-hour work week is that it was created for single income households. So the 40-hour work week was designed and based off of the fact that there was an assumption that there was somebody at home doing everything that needed to be done at home. And the 40-hour work week was supposed to be enough to support two people. So that means there was somebody working 40 hours at work for pay, and there was somebody in the house also working 40 hours raising children, doing food prep, cleaning, running errands, and doing other chores.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
now,
So this is how the leisure time actually came into play. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Because they didn't have to do any of the home chores.
yeah. And the people that were doing the home chores, traditionally women who were staying at home, they also still had leisure time because they weren't also working a 40-hour job, right? They had to do
my
one
God, bring
or
back
the other.
housewives.
I
Great.
I don't know what
This
it's been, but
unpopular
this
opinion.
month I've been like, did feminism do us wrong? Like,
It might have.
I don't really want to work. Why did we do that? I'm okay. I'll stay at home. I'll stay at home. It's okay.
I love staying at home.
We can just take it back.
Oh man, I love staying at home. I love brunch with the gals.
Me
drinking
too.
champagne,
Me too.
Like I don't know. It
I'll
just sounds
cook if it
okay.
means that I can stay home all day.
Yeah, let's bring back that lifestyle, please.
Yeah, but it's created a huge issue because now a single income isn't usually enough to support a family.
Yeah.
So most households now are dual income households, which means both people are working 40 hours and they still somehow have to find all the time to do all the things that were done before in their week. So
Shit.
they're probably working a lot more than 40 hours, just not all of the work is
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's a big issue.
That's such bullshit.
I know.
It's like you spend your entire life working at that point. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know, like, technically we don't need to count, like, doing the laundry and making your bed.
It's unpaid
and, like,
labor, though.
yeah. It's still work. It's still not enjoying your time. As much as, like, I like to, like, get new sheets and, like, sometimes I like to do my makeup, it's still not, like, it's still, I'm doing it because, like, I have to. You know what I mean? It's still a job.
And yeah, and it's still essential to functioning normal life in society.
Yeah.
And it's essential for maintaining a household. It's essential stuff, and it's stuff that traditionally has fallen on women and still does fall on women in a lot of cases, even though women are now working 40-hour work weeks and still expected to do all these things.
Damn.
So there's a little bit of a problem with that.
Oh, man, this is tough. Like, I love you, feminism, but I do not dream of labor.
Me neither. And I feel like we can still have equal rights and just have a better world for everyone, where everyone doesn't have to work a 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
Other
What
things
if
are
we all
important
worked
too.
4 hours.
Work isn't the most important thing. There's so many other things to
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So
Sad.
there's also a lot of research about whether 40 hours is actually even effective. Does it do anything?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So there's a couple of surveys. In one survey from Task, people they found that people only spend about 45% of their time while they're at work doing primary job duties.
Yeah, that makes sense. I honestly, yeah, I totally see that. I totally see that.
Yeah,
like
they
a lot of
spend-
your work time is low key, like chill time. You're like, I'm on someone else's bill right
Okay,
now.
and this is one of the problems with like the way that we structure work is that you're almost punished for productivity. Because if I go to work and somebody gives me a job and I finish it in an hour, they're going to come and get mad at me if I'm doing something different. But if I pretend to do the job slowly, or I purposely do the job slower to fill the time, I'm rewarded.
Oh my god, that's so weird.
And with hourly pay, if I do the job in an hour and then I get to go home, I'm only getting paid for an hour. But if I just
yeah,
purposely do it slowly and drag it out for
Yeah.
8 hours, I get paid 8 hours. So you're being punished for doing a job well.
You're like being forced to stay at your work
To just
for
sit
longer
there
than
for
you
no
need to.
reason.
Wow.
And then
What
if
a
you go
shitty
on like
world
your
we live
phone
in.
or like you're on the internet because you finished your job, they're like, what are you doing? I finished the task that you gave me.
Yeah, but I'm still.
I
on the
guess I'll
clock.
pretend to do it slowly next time.
We should all get salaries instead of this hourly wage thing.
Yeah, I think that you should get paid for like the value of your work and not for your time. You know?
Yeah.
You should get paid for the task that you do.
100%.
And there's a lot of research that shows that working more than 8 hours or more than the 40-hour week is bad. So they've done a lot of studies that people who routinely work 10-hour days or work over 40-hour weeks, there's a decline in productivity, health, and more mistakes are made while on the job, which I find a little scary because one of the highest professions with long work days are healthcare workers,
Yeah.
doctors and nurses. So
They
that's a
work
little
for, like,
scary.
12 hours.
Yeah, maybe we should shorten their shifts a little. I don't want
Why
to.
do they work so long? Well, like, why do their shifts have to be that long? Like,
I don't
for
know.
real?
I don't know. I know that there's a lot of like arguments about residency in medicine and how it's like essential to be immersed in medicine while you're learning, which I
Yeah,
kind of
that
understand.
makes
But I
sense.
feel like once you're done, like we don't need to do that to them. I want my doctor to be like alert,
Yeah,
on their
me too.
game, healthy, happy. Especially when it's
I
like
feel
your
tired
health in
from
your
working
life.
after 4 hours. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine a 12-hour shift. On your feet the entire time. Having to constantly think about science. It just sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Damn. They got it the worst, dude. They actually do.
I kind of feel bad for doctors because they
Me
dedicate
too.
so much of their life and go into so much debt to make like $400,000 a year, but then they have no weekends, no holidays off. They work
Yeah, they're
10,
literally
12-hour
working the
days. They
entire
have no time to
time.
be with their families. How do they even spend their
God.
money? It's so that they can like drive a Tesla to work every day.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for them.
Yeah. It's like the one luxury they can afford. And like it's not even like you need nice clothes. You just need more scrubs.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Shout out to the doctors and the
Shout out to
essential
the doctors.
healthcare providers out there. You're doing God's work for real. And you got shafted, like low-key.
Yeah, but
because
please
you-
also get sleep before you treat patients because
yeah.
it makes me nervous.
Seriously.
Makes me very nervous. And the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development found that working more actually doesn't yield in higher productivity. And they found that countries with the highest average working hours were some of the least productive.
Oh, interesting.
How do you like them apples, Merca?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck you, Merca. I
Merca?
don't understand. I
And
mean, yeah,
so
I guess that makes sense because you feel the pressure to do more work more quickly.
That's one of the theories behind it.
Yeah, really.
Is that people know that they don't have the extra day, so they actually maximize
Yeah.
the time that they're there.
Yeah, I would be like, holy shit, I gotta get it done. Like sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes a little bit of pressure is good.
And
People
yeah, if
need
we're spending so
deadlines.
much of our days doing like useless stuff,
Yeah.
60% of our day doing something that's not the primary duty, if you could just take out the 60%, do the 40%, you would have so much more
Yeah.
leisure time. Time
Yeah,
to
I can totally
do the things that you need to
imagine-
do at home, time to like have fun, see
Yes.
friends,
Oh my gosh.
enjoy
And the
life.
morale at work is probably so low because it's like everyone knows they're lying about how much
Yeah.
work they're actually doing.
Right?
So everyone's like, oh, you're doing work. Like, I see. Get that bottle of vodka from out from underneath your desk, buddy.
And Luxembourg was the most productive country, and their average work week was about 29 hours.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And in a 2020 survey, 53% of Canadians believe that shortening the work week even further to 30 hours would be a good idea. So there's a lot of Canadians behind it. And Canadians also, there was like an idea behind it that it would help reduce unemployment because if everybody was only working 30 hours, companies would be able to hire more people. And people could also spend more
True.
time with family and friends. It's a win-win.
Yes.
I mean, you might lose a bit of income potentially, but I don't really know how that all worked
Right.
out. I feel like companies could still keep paying their employees. Well, in my opinion, I feel like
Yeah, that's true. I guess you would be losing a little bit of income. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the 40-hour work. That's for the governments to figure out how
That's
that's
for
gonna
them
work,
to
okay?
figure out how
We
they're
can
going to
only
support
solve
us.
so many problems,
Come on,
guys.
come on, guys.
Economics just isn't one of them.
Honestly, though, if your employees are still being equally as productive and getting the same work done, they should not get a cut to their pay if they're working less hours.
Yeah, that's true. Because your company should technically be even more productive as
Yeah.
a result, meaning more
Yeah.
money for you.
Yeah, if
meaning
you're not
higher
losing
pay for your
income,
employees.
yeah, 100%.
Love that.
100%.
Boom. Economics.
And then I looked on Reddit for a couple of opinions, and I just picked out two that really resonated with me. So one person said that working 40 hours a week doesn't matter because that working 40 hours a week, it doesn't matter that you'll have money because you have no time or energy to pursue anything you love outside of work, which we just talked
sure.
about.
I completely, yeah.
And then they also talked about how being passionate about your jobs and feeling like you're making a difference is a ploy to get people to dedicate their lives to
Oh
a
my
9 to 5 for not enough money.
Yes. Shit. Oh, they went there. They went there. Oh my god.
I feel that
Dude,
so
that's-
hard.
Oh, that's so mind blowing because like for so
brainwash
freaking
you to
long
no.
in our lives, it's always what do you want to be when you grow up? Do something you love so that you never work a day in
Find
your
your
life.
passion.
Oh my god, dude, I've been stuck on this like passion thing for literally
Me
like
too.
8 years now.
Me too.
Like it's so hard.
Work doesn't bring
It's
me
so hard.
I'm not passionate about work.
Not at all.
I don't
It's hard
wanna
to
do
rewire
it.
that part of your brain where it's like I just work for money so I can live, so I can do other things that I
so
actually enjoy.
that I am passionate about. Why do I have to be
Yeah.
passionate about my job? I'm not. It's just they
And I
they
probably
do
never
that
will be.
to make you feel okay about the fact that you're working
Yeah.
40 hours a week, the fact that they're not paying you enough, the fact that even though you make more money, you still need to buy more bigger things because you love your job.
Man,
So
that's
it's
so
okay.
sad. Like I think so many people have trouble finding like a job path and a job career because of this idea that they're stuck
They
on
have to
finding
be
something that they're
passionate about it.
passionate about,
Yeah.
their true passion, blah blah blah. Like, and it's just such a lie. Like, you don't need to pick something you're passionate about. You just need to pick something that you can tolerate.
Yeah. Like something that doesn't
know
make
that's
you want
sad,
to
but-
die. That-
Yes, but every single job, even a job you're passionate about, like, you're gonna
gonna
fucking
suck.
start to learn how to hate. Yeah. And you're still gonna have bad days, and like you're still gonna have this and that, but like you're gonna get burnt out. You're not gonna feel like, listen to our intro.
Yeah. And I read a response to this comment, and they were talking about how, like, even the stuff that brings them passion. So, for example, like, I enjoy crocheting. If I was forced to crochet for 40 hours a week, I would hate it. So
Yeah.
why are we
Oh, for
expected to
sure.
be passionate about the things that we do for work? Anything, if you were to be forced to do it for that much time, it's probably not going to be your passion.
Yeah, it would turn into such a
So it might
chore.
actually ruin your passion, getting a job
Yeah.
in something that you're passionate about.
Oh, hell
Get
yeah,
something that you
dude.
can tolerate.
Hell yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be passionate about your jobs.
Yeah, that happened to a lot of people in theater. Like, when I was working in theater, it's like I would meet people who had been working in theater for like 10 or 15 years. And like for me, the magic of theater was still very much alive because I had been working in it for like 6 months. And I was like, this is literally the greatest thing ever. Like, we're such a community. We like make such a beautiful thing out of nothing. And then it's like all gone in one night. And like, wow, the story is so amazing. We're changing lives. But like the people who had been working for like 8 years as technicians, they were like, I hate my life. Stupid designer. Like, this makes no sense. This is stupid. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm like, damn, dude, this is sad. Like, the magic is so gone, and it's just expected almost that you lose like the magic of it, and you start to become jaded and like kind of gruff with the job. People are like, yep, that's just what happens. But it's like,
That's what happens.
I don't know. I kind of hate that.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you're forced to do something. Even if it's something that you're passionate about, if you're forced to do it, it's not going to be a passion for very long. Part of the great things about passions is that you do them when you want to do them.
Yeah.
So.
I totally agree. Not everyone in theater is like that, by the way. There's a lot of people who genuinely like are very passionate still and love their jobs. Just wanted
That's
to
good.
clarify. Just in
Yeah,
case
and I
you're
think
looking
there
to
are
go into
people who
theater,
like
do it.
do like their jobs, but I think there's a lot more people who have like identity crises, like myself
Yeah,
and
for
like
sure.
you, who
Yeah, I agree. I'm
because we can't find a job that we're passionate about, but like that's because it's
Right.
kind of a lie, and you don't have to.
yeah.
It's okay.
Oh my god, it's still like I know this
But
thing, but
yeah.
I'm still struggling with it. Like every day, it's like, oh, passion, but it's like it doesn't need to be passion. Like, you just need to be okay at it. You need to be able to do your work, or like be the best at it. You know, that's always what they tell you. Choose one thing and be amazing.
And then I just have a couple of alternatives that I found online to the 40-hour work week. So the first one I thought was kind of interesting. I thought that you would like it. It kind of reminds me of like what's the sleeping thing that we did? Segmented sleep. Biphasic sleeping. It reminds me of that. So it's called body time. And it refers
Body
to
time.
the art of scheduling
get-
your work days for the average mental and physical capacity. So it's understood by two main factors, which are light and genetics. So light determines your productivity, but genetics determines your light-based cycles. So some people are longer and some people are shorter. People with longer cycles are more likely to be more productive and active at night. People with shorter cycles are more likely to be productive and active in the morning. So body time refers
Cool.
to scheduling your work days with your body time. And I like that one very much.
Okay, that's interesting. How would that work though? Like,
So-
as a business.
So it works more with like desk jobs and technical jobs, not so much with like retail or food service or manufacturing.
Okay, gotcha.
But so it works. It's also kind of called flex time. Flex time is another idea, but you can do body time with flex time. So flex time is letting employees design their own schedule. So they can start and end whenever they want. They can work from home. They can work from the office as long as they're working the minimum and maximum amount of hours kind of thing. So it's more conducive to personal schedules and preferences. Again, more people. Some people can work in the morning. Some people can work in the evening. It lets people spend more time with their kids and families.
Yeah, definitely. I see
People
that.
can carve time out of the days to do things for themselves, like go for a walk, go to the gym, grab lunch with a friend, go to appointments, pick up their kids from school. So you can just schedule, as long as you're completing the 8 hours, why does it matter when the 8 hours are,
Yeah.
I can do 4 in the morning, 4 in the evening.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. That's very reminiscent of the job that I currently have. That's very interesting.
Aw, that's good.
Yeah, it's just like work whenever.
Another way to do it is the compressed work week. So in this one, you have 4 10-hour days. So this one still preserves the 40-hour work week, but you get a 3-day weekend. There's less commute time. But of course, 10-hour days are exhausting. We know that productivity goes down, and it can be hard to have a life outside of work on the days that you do work. So alternatively, you can do the 32-hour work week. And now this cuts down on the hours. But employers that have done this have seen great results. So
I believe it.
some people do a 3-day weekend and then 8-hour work week for 4 days. And then some people do like 6-day work days. There's different ways to structure it. But one example of it doing really well was at Microsoft in Japan. They tried the 32-hour work week. And after 1 month, productivity went up by 40%. 40% in 1 month by cutting down the amount of time that people worked. And the argument here is that we talked about this a minute ago, was that employees managed their time better because they knew that they didn't have the extra day. So they were more productive.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. A small part of me is like concerned almost though, because I think we talked about this during our biphasic sleeping thing, where like in Japan it's like if you are seen sleeping, that's like as a sign as like you worked yourself to sleep. Yeah. So what concerns me about that is just like the productivity culture over there. Yeah. Where maybe like cutting down 6 hours was actually like a really
stressful. They were like, oh no.
Them. Yeah. And like maybe they were only productive 40% more because they were just stressed out the entire time and like I had to like just like go crazy kind of thing. I don't know.
It's a good point. It's a fair point.
Just a thought.
But I mean, the most productive country in the world is Luxembourg, who has a 28-hour work week. So
yeah, this could just be also like my capitalist brainwashing coming through, where I'm like,
I mean, no, it like it is
enough time.
it is.
But
it is a very good point as to why it could have gone up that much in Japan, because 40% is a lot for it to go up by. But like there's been some studies where it's had no effect, and there's been some studies where it's had really good effects. But even no effect is a good effect because it means that people can work 32 hours instead of 40 and there's no difference in productivity.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It would be nice to work less too. I mean, I get it. I'd be down.
And that's it. That's the opinion, guys. Those are the alternatives. I don't think the 40-hour work week is appropriate for the world that we live in today. I think that we need to rethink it. I think that a lot of people are frustrated and trapped in jobs and need more time just to be people. Yeah. And there's a lot of other ways to do it. And there's a lot of evidence saying that the other ways to do it could be equal to or better than the 40-hour work week.
I love that. I think that's great.
It's time to free mind. It's time to free mind. Just leave it all behind. Just leave it all behind. Just leave it all behind.
Today's episode is brought to you by Omio. Omio is a travel booking platform that makes planning a journey in Europe and North America effortless. Just enter your travel details and Omio will magically give you all the train, bus, flight, and ferry options for your journey. It has never been simpler to book your first real vacation for 2021. Best of all, using Omio saves you time and money. That's a win-win in our books. Damn, this is good. This is good stuff.
That's a win-win-win.
Yeah.
At the office. Omio wants to help you leave your house this summer by offering 5% off your next booking. Just head to omio.com and use the code OMIO5, and that's OMIO5 at checkout. Valid until July 31st for new users on all modes of transport. It's just the pick-me-up 2021 needs. Omio. Plan, book, and love the journey. Terms and condition may apply.
Ooh, terms and conditions.
Ooh. Thanks, Omio.
Thank you, Omio. Okay, guys, this week I wanted to tackle a conspiracy theory.
Yes.
So the theory this week is that the Titanic never sank.
What?
Dun, dun, dun.
What happened to it?
Okay, so there's this whole theory that the Titanic was actually switched with its sister ship called the Olympic for the insurance money.
So a boat sank.
Yes,
boat
a
still
boat
sank.
did
Okay.
sink, but it wasn't the Titanic. It was the Olympic
Oh.
disguised and masquerading as the Great Titanic.
Ooh.
Pretty crazy, right? So the Olympic and the Titanic are part of this group of 3 ships owned and made by this company called the White Star Line, which was financially backed by this rich dude, J.P. Morgan. Remember that name because there's a part 2 of the conspiracy that he's going to be involved in.
I remember that name from the movie.
Yeah, right? But for the first part, like, he's just this, like, really rich dude. Like, he's done a lot of things. And, like, during this time in, like, England and in the world, there was a ship war, almost like an arms race, where people wanted to make, like, the best ship. And people wanted to make the most money, and he invested in this ship business because he knew it was, like, an up-and-coming business. But I guess it turned out to be, like, way too much money for reasons that we will get into. So there was, like, a lot of struggles and, like, delays, and it was just all around not good because it was impacting their reputation. And among the other ship companies, like, they really wanted to have, like, a good healthy competition and be in the lead and be the best of the best. So in 1911, exactly, dude, this is literally capitalism. I think was this before the 40-hour work week? Yeah, because this Titanic sank in 1912. So at this point, I guess people were working like 12 hours
Grinding.
on these fucking ships, bro. They were going hard. Also, quick side note, the Titanic, if you can help me visualize this, that would be great. So the Titanic is 25 meters long. What is that in
It's only
relation
it's
to
25
the
meters?
real world? Yeah, that's not that big, right?
No, that's like the size. So an Olympic swimming pool is 50 meters. A normal swimming pool is 25. Like the one that you see if you go to the community center is 25.
Right. Oh, I got that so wrong.
Okay, good. I was going to be like, it has to be bigger than a swimming pool.
Maybe like the whole, maybe like width-wise it was that big. Sorry,
okay.
guys. Okay, the Titanic or the Olympic was 269 meters.
Okay, that makes a lot. I was like, 25? It went through the ocean?
I know, right? It doesn't seem like a lot.
Wow,
That's why
the
I was so
movie
confused. I was
really
sitting there, I was like, yeah, I know,
exaggerated, though.
over-exaggerated. So in 1911, a year before the Titanic's trip, the other boat, the Olympic, was finished and it was set to work. So there was these 3 sister ships, like I was saying, right? The Titanic, the Olympic, and this other one, the something. One day the Olympic was out and about and it crashed into another ship, the HMS Hawk, and it took really severe damage on the side of its body, on like the bottom part of the hull, above and below the waterline. So the case went to court about like who was at fault for the shipwreck, and the Olympic, which is the White Star Line company, was said to be at fault, which was really terrible news for the company. Because at this point, they're shelling out millions of dollars, millions of pounds to build these epic fucking ships. They can't afford to lose money on a damaged ship that's just sitting in port, wasting their time, wasting their money. And now they're liable for both damages, and the insurance company refused to pay out since there was permanent damage, which would cause a list to port, which is a nautical term for leaning to the right.
Isn't that what insurance is for, though? That they're supposed to cover damages? What's the point of
Yeah.
having insurance if they're like, no, it's too damaged?
Because they were like, oh, it's permanently damaged. So I don't know. The insurance policy was supposed to pay out, I think like $5 million or something like that. And in today's money, that's close to like $69 million. So I think the insurance was just doing whatever they could to be like,
They were
oh,
just
well,
like,
that
nah.
was an accident. I think ship insurance too is different than like car insurance because as we'll like see, they were trying to cause an accident that like was seemingly not their fault. Like if the ship was flooded, if the ship sank,
Wait, is that the
then
the
maybe
theory
they
is
would get
that-
the money.
the ship was sunk on purpose?
Yeah. So,
That would be dark.
when the I know. So, yeah, it was crazy. So I know we'll get there. We'll get there. The moment that those two ships collided and the Olympic didn't sink, that's where the White Star Line ships got their reputation for being unsinkable, because it made it back to port and it was totally fine. Well, it wasn't totally fine. It took a lot of damage, but it was like kind of okay. And it's kind of, I don't know, I just thought it was an interesting fact because they actually tested this on a ship, and like to say the boat is unsinkable, like it actually is unsinkable. Like they crashed into another boat. This entire side was fucked up and it didn't sink. So they tried to speed up the repair process of the Olympic by putting parts on it that were meant for the Titanic. And this was easy since the ships are nearly identical. And 2 weeks into being fixed, the Olympic's propeller broke and once again had to be salvaged by taking parts from the Titanic. So at this point, like, they couldn't waste any more time. The Titanic was set to leave in a couple of days, but it was incomplete and most of its parts were used on the Olympic. So White Star Line refused to waste any more money and lose any more money on the ships. And the Titanic leaving port was famously delayed. Like, it took, I don't know, they had to like move the date. So they swapped the ships.
Okay, is this fact or is this opinion? Do they have like, is this the conspiracy theory that
proof.
they? Okay,
It's a conspiracy theory, but it's a damn good conspiracy theory.
okay.
So the theory continues to say that they intended on some small accident happening so that they could get the insurance money on the ship. The accident wasn't meant to be like an intentional iceberg. People are saying that they obviously didn't mean to like
Kill
like have all these people killed. And, yeah, like thousands of people. They didn't obviously mean for this to happen. The plan was to have the ship slowly fill with water, allowing time for passengers to escape to rescue ships close by. Evidence of this scheme was shown in the... Yeah, what's up?
If in theory their plan was to sink the ship, wouldn't have been a good idea to have enough lifeboats on board for everybody if they knew that they were going to use them? If they didn't want to kill anyone.
Yes.
I feel like that would have been a smart move.
I know. That would have been a really smart move. But the idea was that there was going to be like rescue ships around, and it would be sinking so slowly that people could just like exit from the one ship to the other ship. So
okay.
Yeah, it kind of like moves forward in saying that when the Titanic hit the iceberg, it wasn't actually an iceberg, but it was a ship with its lights off, which was supposed to be one of the rescue boats. And that's why they didn't see it for so long. And like they only saw it when it was super duper close, because the boat was dark and it was black, and like it was in the middle of the night. It was like 1:30 in the morning when the ship sank, I think.
Yeah.
So they didn't see it, and they were like, shit, and they hit it by accident kind of thing. So it was supposed to be there waiting to be able to rescue other people. And that's when this smaller ship fired distress rockets to like try to signal the nearby ship, the Californian, which is famously known for ignoring the Titanic's distress calls and not coming for like 6 hours. Yeah. So the theory is that the Californian wasn't coming because it wasn't expecting rockets to be fired. And also, they were firing the completely wrong rockets. Like, this kind of leads into another theory that it was purposefully done because they didn't have flares, like distress signals, on the ship. They only had identifier rockets, which are like a white like flare. They didn't have like the red ones that signaled SOS.
That's fishy.
Super fucking
so
strange.
Wait, when somebody eventually did arrive at the Titanic, there were two ships there. Because in theory, if they had hit the other ship and it wasn't an iceberg, it would be there when everyone else showed up, right? Like, it would have to have had some damage, especially if it was a smaller ship. Like, where did it go?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it sank. Like, maybe it also, like, had, like, a bad fate.
I feel like they would know that, though, because they've been down to see the Titanic. Wouldn't they have seen...
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they would find something else. But the Titanic has such, like, specific coordinates, and it's like...
Yeah, that's true. And I think it, like, kind of, like...
Yeah.
I don't think it sank.
Yeah, like, moved over to the side.
Yeah.
So maybe they weren't looking for like a different ship, and maybe they were only searching for the Titanic, and maybe that's why they don't have any evidence that it was a boat.
That there was just another boat there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think the Californian part of the theory is kind of like kind of holds up a little bit better because it was around, like, it wasn't expecting these like distress signals to be fired. They were expecting a rendezvous, as they call it. And that's kind of why everyone was like, people were like super confused about why the California didn't come. And like this part also kind of interested me because in my mind, okay, keep in mind that I'm not like a ship person, I'm not like a sailor, but I think this is a very popular theory, which is like about the iceberg. Like, how did you not see it? Like, I just don't really get how they didn't see it. And like, I also don't really understand how it can make such a big impact on a steel ship, but also I don't know a lot about icebergs, but I think a lot of other ships have sunk because of like, because of icebergs. So like, I'll give them a little bit of leeway there.
From what I can remember from the movie, which I don't, obviously might not be the most accurate representation, but it was a foggy night. And
yeah, possibly.
I think they also weren't expecting icebergs in that area, so people weren't really being that diligent and watching. And also icebergs, as I'm sure everyone knows, are much bigger underneath the water than they are above the water. So even if you see the iceberg above the water, it's kind of hard to know how far it extends below the water, because they did try to like steer the ship out of the way, but it hit like below the water line.
Yeah, and that's where it got fucked up. And some people think that it got so fucked up because it was like a broken ship already, and so that's why it was so much easier for it to like come in contact with this like iceberg, which then again, icebergs are pretty aggressive, so I'm sure any ship that came in contact with them would have gotten fucked up. But the idea is that it was already damaged before, and it had like kind of cheaper parts, like I think the iron rods were made a little bit like cheaper or quicker because they just wanted to get the boat out, they wanted to make their money, and they didn't have time to like keep it in port and keep it kind of just wasting money sitting there. So the Californian reportedly didn't come to aid because of the dangerous iceberg terrain all around it, which all of the captains knew about, including Captain Smith, who was the captain of the Titanic. So he knew about this, and since like the Californian told them, radioed them a bunch of times about the icebergs, and for some reason the radio operator on the Titanic told them to shut up because they were busy doing something else.
Isn't that your job, radio operator? Isn't that your one job? What are you busy doing?
I literally don't understand. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was a little and like everybody, I don't know. This was like a part of Newfoundland actually that everybody knows has a lot of icebergs, and like it has a lot of like really scary terrain going on, and like it's just not a secure place to be like driving your ship. A couple other interesting things. The binoculars were locked up because the man who held the key was bumped from the crew at the last minute.
And he just kept his key.
The ship.
He was just like,
yeah, apparently he was just like, I'm just gonna keep this.
This is mine
just gonna
now.
hold on to this.
And they couldn't buy another pair of binoculars. They were just like, okay, that was our one chance. I guess we're just not having binoculars.
I guess so. Some people say it would have helped. Some people say it wouldn't have helped. So whatever. We won't blame the binocular guy, I guess. The ship was going way too fast for an iceberg heavy zone, apparently because the Captain Smith, wanted to beat the record previously held by the Olympic, ironically the ship that he is steering, which is called the Titanic. Pretty crazy. But yeah, he was going way too fast, ignoring all the radio calls. Like, he just wanted to like beat some other record. The iceberg warnings were ignored, apparently because the message was not marked as urgent. I don't know if I completely believe that because it's like icebergs.
Like, how many other messages were you getting? I feel like you should have been able to hear them all.
I know. I don't really get it. And then the Californian turned off their radio for the rest of the night. And they were, we don't need that. Close. And they saw the identifier flares being like raised into the sky, and they were like, oh, it's just the Titanic, like identifying itself. And they went to bed. Once the ship sank, JP Morgan got £1 million from insurance money. Less than he wanted. Way bigger disaster than ever could have been anticipated or planned. But the theory is that the real Titanic went on to serve for 24 years before being scrapped in 1935.
So the real Titanic was actually unsinkable. Might have
Well, it never
lived
had
up
the chance
his
to get
legacy.
sunk. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so another theory includes this rich guy that I mentioned during the beginning, J.P. Morgan. He is just a very wealthy man. And there was several well-known millionaires who were counted among the 1,503 people dead. This guy, Jacob Astor, Isidore Strauss, and Benjamin Guggenheim were all aboard. And these people were builders of hotels and skyscrapers, bankers, Macy's department store owners, builder of mining machinery. Very, very rich men. JP Morgan was also supposed to be on the ship, but he delayed his journey at the last minute. So the theory is that he knew the ship was going to sink and he wanted them on it so that he could secure his place as the richest man. My theory.
After the Titanic sunk, did he go into any of those industries? Like, did he buy hotels or?
He actually was bankrupt 2 years after the Titanic sunk.
Oh.
Which was a really big deal because he single-handedly apparently helped with a financial crisis in 1907. And the ship business just ran him dry even after he got the insurance money that he so desperately wanted. So is it karma? Possibly, if he did it. But also a lot of people don't think that he did it. They were like, that's crazy. He's just a guy. He's just chilling, whatever. I think that someone conspired to maybe kill them all. And JP Morgan got lucky. And maybe because he was in on the insurance fraud and he didn't want to be there just in case something went happen, in case the ship actually sank a lot faster than they thought it was going to, or something else happened. Either way, it didn't end the way that he wanted it to, and it didn't end well for him because the Titanic didn't end up collecting as much as it could have, and the ship was gone, which I'm sure set back business much farther. Man, I'm not 100% sure that he intended to kill those people.
I don't know though, because as sad as it is, I feel I'm basing all of my knowledge of the Titanic off of the movie. Let me just premise it with that. But I feel like there was a very big division on the Titanic between wealthy and not wealthy people. Yeah. And I feel like in 1912, people didn't necessarily give that much of a shit about wealthy people. Wealthy people still don't. Wealthy people just don't give that much of a shit about unwealthy people. Yeah. And the lifeboats primarily saved wealthy people.
That's true, because the people who were not wealthy were in the lower deck, and they were flooded.
And the rich people got to go first.
Yeah.
The women, and then but
women and the children, women
and children. But
interesting.
It could be that they didn't care. As long as
and they were like, "Fuck it, just gotta get rid of this shit.
Gotta get my insurance money." So he can acquire more wealth and buy more things and feel the same amount of wealth.
It's bro, just chill. So those are those two theories. Pretty interesting. That's where they kind of come to an end. A lot of people do not believe the JP Morgan one, but there's one more piece of evidence that I forgot to talk about the about the Olympic and the Titanic, which is that the photographs where they took pictures of the ships being built, they look like they've been switched, and the real Titanic had evenly spaced out portholes in the last 5 portholes at the front of the ship, and the Olympics were clustered, and the ship that took sail as the Titanic had the clustered portholes. So people are like, why the fuck would they change it at the last second? And why would they do it like this, blah blah blah. It must have been rushed out in the last minutes. Also, on the Olympic and the other boat that was a part of the fleet, the names were carved into the hull, but with the Titanic it was just painted on to the top part. So they're saying it was just a cover-up.
Wouldn't you still be able to see the other name if it was carved into the hull?
Yeah. You probably would.
I mean, I feel like it makes sense, especially if he was trying to like fulfill a big reputation. I feel like it's completely possible that he switched the ships, even if he didn't intend to like sink it for the insurance money. If he knew that the ship needed, like the Titanic was supposed to sail and all these people had paid all this money and people were calling it like the unsinkable ship and they were so excited, like,
And it wasn't ready.
yeah, it would, like, they're just ships. Like, it would make sense that he might switch them just so that he could have a ship ready for the people who paid for it, you know?
And it was already running behind. Like, it was already losing money. Like, there's a lot of factors.
Yeah,
that
and I feel
totally
like
makes sense.
that fact in itself is not necessarily like a bad thing or like incriminating at all. But
He just wanted to make
he just
some
wanted
money.
to fulfill. Just wanted a ship to sail and get these people to the place.
Right. I guess it didn't matter if it was the Titanic or the
like-
Olympic at the end of the
Like,
day.
it's
like,
a boat. Like, it's a name for a boat. But yeah, it seems like either the Titanic had really bad luck or it was planned. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so many little factors that went wrong. Like, so many of them went wrong. So it's either really bad luck or there's a little something going on there.
Yeah.
Like, to not have the right flares, to not have the binoculars, to ignore the radio.
Ignore the calls. Like, it's probably because a lot of people were in on it. They had this idea of what was actually going to happen, and maybe they thought that the Californian was only sending out the like iceberg warnings because they figured it was just to have the recordings of that.
Or maybe
Like,
just
in
genuine
court case or
concern.
something.
Like, if there was just supposed to be a little
that's true.
accident, they still might have wanted to be like, hey, don't also hit the
Here's all
icebergs.
Yeah.
You'll go down, you
But
know,
the guy
make
was
sure
like,
it's only
"Don't
the
worry
tiny
about it, Don't worry
accident."
about it. Yeah, I know, right? Very sad. Very sad.
I'm still confused
yeah,
about the
those
other
are
ship
those.
disappearing. That part really confuses
I
me.
mean, me
feel like
too.
we would've
I don't know
known.
if that was like a very well-founded theory. There's another theory about someone, like, people seeing something in the water. Like, a couple of passengers have attested to the fact that they saw something called a U-boat, a German U-boat, which is something that they used in the First World War. And I guess the theory is that, like, even though they missed it by 2 years, like, the tragedy was before the First World War, the German U-boat was actually behind the ship's sinking, and they thought that it torpedoed the Titanic, and like that was.
See, I feel like
that
that
was
theory they would have been able to verify with the fact that they've been down to see the Titanic. Like, I feel like the damage from a torpedo might be very different than the damage from an iceberg or like
but
rubbing
how-
against something.
But how would you know? You know, like, something's been under the ocean for so long.
True.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I don't. Yeah.
I just feel like science and technology, they can like recreate things. I don't know. Like, they
I don't
like
know if that's
recreate
po- I
like
don't know if
people's
they can, though.
voices
It's
and
been,
like
100
faces
years.
off of like skulls that are like thousands of years old. I feel like they can figure out what took the Titanic down. Right?
I don't think they can, because a lot of people still think it's a mystery. Like, a lot of people are still like, why didn't the Californian come help? Like, why didn't they see the iceberg? Like, why didn't they listen to the warnings?
Yeah.
Why didn't they have the right flares? Why didn't they have the binoculars? Why weren't they prepared at all with the lifeboats? Like, with the nothing? Why were they going so fast? Why were they?
They?
So many questions. Just why? So yeah, one of the other theories is that the submarine may have deliberately targeted the luxury liner or possibly accidentally collided with it. Interesting point. There's another theory that's a little bit that has been disproven, but I'm going to share it with you guys anyways.
Okay.
So there was this archaeologist, and he was a British art collector and museum professional, and he decided to take this mummified princess on the ship, and he wanted to take it to England in the early 1900s after being excavated from Egypt. So the theory is that the boat was cursed by this princess who was stolen to be taken and put into this other like area or whatever. It was later disproven because there was no mummy on the boat.
That also wasn't the route. The boat was going from England to North America. he wanted to bring the mummy from Egypt to England, so he went from England to North America?
No, it was excavated from Egypt, and like he took it from Egypt, and then I guess wanted to take it
to Canada,
wherever the Titanic was going. I don't know. I guess so. I guess he just wanted to get away and like have it for himself. I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
It never
one.
made it though. Yeah, that one's not great. And then the last one I want to share with you guys is one of the more interesting ones, I think. There was speculation that this man, Morgan Robertson, predicted the entire thing.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. He wrote a book in 1898 called Futility. And in it, there's a ship called the Titan, 2 letters away from being the Titanic, billed as unsinkable in the book, set across the Atlantic, hits an iceberg, and goes down, and most of the passengers perish.
I feel like I've heard about this before.
You might have. And like, the fictional ship was almost identical to the real one, including dimensions, lack of lifeboats, and the speed at which it was traveling when it hit the iceberg. Pretty fucking crazy. And like, this book is renowned. Like, very few copies exist. People are like keeping it in like the special book place of the world and stuff like that. And then a couple years later, like when the the Titanic sank, people were like, Robertson, you predicted it. And he was like, no, I didn't. I just know what I'm talking about. And they were like, you have psychic abilities. And he was like, no, I don't. Like, he was not about it at all.
Well, yeah, I get why he wasn't about it. It would be basically like accusing him of predicting the death of so many people and not doing anything about it. But
he's like, no, I just know what I'm talking about. I know. It was so crazy. I was like, jeez, damn. Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, look into the theory a little bit more. The Olympic being switched with the Titanic. I don't know if it goes as far as like the insurance money thing, like we were saying. Maybe it was just an innocent switch because they just needed to get a boat out and it didn't matter what boat it was. But I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and I love learning about the Titanic. It's like it's like one of those stories that just like grips the whole world, you know? It's still kind of low-key a mystery. Like, it's just so interesting, and like it's the most deaths or like it's a lot of deaths, but like other ships have sunk in the Atlantic and the deaths were like 2, 60, 15 but it was never to the scale of like this 1,500 people.
That's a lot of people.
Pretty fucked up.
The world is scary.
Yeah. On that tragic note.
Okay. Would you like to conclude?
Yes, I will conclude. And that brings us to the end of the podcast, everybody. Thank you for listening to Courtney's opinion on the 40-hour work week and how we have evolved past it. And we need to start looking at some alternatives. And thanks for listening to my dive into the Titanic conspiracy theories and, you know, some of the more believable ones, some of the less believable ones. Let us know what you think on our Instagram about these two. And you can find us at very.unimportant.people. That's our Instagram. You can find us on Twitter at theunimportantppl. You can email us at hatersclickhere@gmail.com. That's HATRS clickhere@gmail.com. And you can find us on TikTok. And thanks again to our musical guest, Lemon Lord. You can also find them on Instagram at I am Lemon Lord. So please drop a follow, click on the link in the description. Thank you so much.
Have a great.
Have a great.
Something like a